Veuillez m'excuser, j'ai oublié de commander la crème. Un instant.
Perfect.
This is another Airsoft Mike production.
Hey, historical, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is the S&T AGM MG42. And yes, believe your eyes, this is how they come now. So when they first came out on the market, they came in plain brown boxes. Now, wow, they come in these cases. Okay, so let's just get it out. Oh man, this case looks sweet. This is pretty cool. So it's one of those semi-hard cases. You've got your S&T logo right there and a nice large panel where you can put your own patch. Nice. If you look on the side here, there's a nice windowed panel. Right, let's get it open. Pleasantly surprised when this arrived in this case. Excuse my back. Oh, now that looks sweet. So we get an instruction manual. Nice. Wait a minute. Oh, good. There is English. Oh, I've got to go for this next. It looks so gorgeous. I don't know why it took me so long to pick one of these up, but I finally decided to do it. And look. Would you look at that epic looking stock? Real wood, loving the finish, loving the texture on the back there. Okay, what else? Of course, it's all velcroed down, or should I say hook and looped down. You have the charging handle. And then of course, let's get that out of the way. Loving how this is packaged. You've got this epic looking bipod. Would you look at this beast? And then of course this awesome looking drum mag. Now it will be interesting to compare this with the real version. Hold on. This has got to be one of the longest cleaning and unjamming rods. Okay, here we go for the beast itself. Now again, this has been secured down quite well in various places. Actually, hold on. Good grief, there's a lot of dust and lint flying around. There you go. Wow. Okay, that's a whole load of gun right there. So, first thing I want to do, by the way, not bad, not bad, almost identical. So, the first thing I want to do is get a battery in there, get the stock on, put the bipod on. So let's do that. So, right at the back, you can see you've got your Tamiya plug So that hasn't changed. By the way, I know I don't really have to say this, but you know, sometimes people watch my videos and don't know anything about me or where I'm based. Inert. They're not real. Well, actually, they are real. They're just spent and inert. Empty shells or cartridges. Right. Let's get that beautiful stock on. I'm using a 7.4. Nice. However, I need to put the charging handle on, so this will be a good point to show you how to take the stock off. So right there, you just press and twist. Decent. Just as well I've seen videos on the real thing, because guess what? The instruction manual does not show you how to do this. Ha! Look at the length of this beast. No, I'm not going there. Now I want to put on this epic bipod. So here you have one of 2 points where you can put the bipod, but quite commonly I see people putting them at the front. So I'll do the same. Right, so that pushes in. Man, that's simple. And man, what a substantial bipod. I mean, look at that. Externally, and from what I'm seeing for the first time with my own eyes, this looks like a decent bit of kit. How it performs, we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, you would use this to adjust how sort of closed in or wide you want your bipod legs to be. Decent. And then of course you would use that, and there's a duplicate one on the other side to lock the bipod legs in to your MG42. Nice. And I tell you what, while I've got it in that position, look at all of that. Logic tells me that somewhere there's a little plug so you can connect up your drum mag. However, before I put the Airsoft one on, I love this bipod. I wonder if S&T AGM had the dimensions perfect to the real steel, and if the real drum mag will fit. Mate, this will be brilliant if it fits. Oh wow! You know what I'm gonna say, don't ya? This will be perfect for movie making. But I'd have to put at the prop store no tight shots, okay? Because it's quite obvious. All the Airsoft bits and bobs, like there's the gearbox and everything. But yeah, from a distance. Oh yeah. Oh yeah! One thing I will say though, because this is the real deal drum, it's just been refurbished to make it look a bit nicer, but it was battered and weathered previously, and you've got like 50 inert rounds in there. It is heavy, so it wants to bring this Airsoft AEG back down on the side like that. Anyway, let's get the actual Airsoft drum mag ready. So well done whoever the OEM is, that you've made it 1-to-1 scale, real world spec, so you can put the actual real drum on. Nice. That's the open position, because you have the flat section there at the bottom as opposed to the rounded off section there. So if I spin this over, that should technically lock the drum mag, and it does. So technically I shouldn't be able to open that unless, as I said, you have it that way. Nice. I believe that is your feeding tray that goes on top of that hole that I showed you earlier on. You also have to put 4 AA batteries in this bad boy. And right there is where you fill the BBs. And somewhere, there you go, underneath my thumb is a springy type metally hose that feeds the MG42. Right, so I've fed the tube through. That then has to go up there and connect with what I'm going to call a feeding tray. But first I've got to put that up there. But even before I do all that, I have to find the plug and cable that's on the MG42 to connect to this on the drum mag. Oh, well that was easy. Suppose I can tuck some of that back up in there, because there's just too much hanging out. So that goes there. Now I've not put any BBs in the mag yet. I just want to make sure it works. Nice. So just like its real counterpart, there's your fire and safe button. So right now it's on safe, so the trigger is physically locked. Nice. So take it off safe and yeah, baby. And can I just say, even though the stock is real wood, this is some form of imitation, almost like Bakelite type wood panels here, but not wood, if you see what I'm saying. But they look pretty decent. Loving the texture there, loving how it looks authentic almost. And there you have a serial number, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that is unique. So I've already shown you this beautiful stock and how you release it, and can I bring you back to this awesome looking airsoft version of the MG42 mag. As you have seen already, it is almost 100% identical to its real counterpart. Obviously the internals are different, and there's one or two other bits I can see that are different, and of course the weight completely different, but the way it looks, I'm very impressed. And you know what else impresses me? It's steel. Nice. And I'm not just talking about the lid, it literally is steel. Now of course I've already shown you how the feed-in tray cover opens and everything, and then we get to what is now possibly my favourite rear sight on any of my collection that I own so far. This thing looks epic and it looks so authentic. This is your anti-aircraft rear sight. So we are already, I presume, all familiar with this sort of sight where you can move that up and down, and then you can flip this section up there. But what makes this the anti-aircraft sight, hold on, bear with me, let's just get that back down. This. How authentic and cool is that? Now, as some of my faithful subscribers and followers of my channel know, whenever I gush and get excited about World War II replicas and everything, it's not because I'm glorifying war, not at all. I just love the engineering and the design and, you know, of these fantastic old school pew-pews. Now, as we move along, I'm no expert, but this also had something to do with the sight system. If you know, let me know in the comments section. By the way, steel fans, the anti-aircraft section of this rear sight, steel. So here you have this epic looking barrel shroud, and look at that awesome outer barrel. And then we get to the front sight. Look at this bad boy. Right there you've got a screw, and that one screw will enable you to adjust your windage and elevation. Now, with the exception of maybe one or two other main platforms that I have in my collection, this has to be one of the most epic looking things I've ever seen. Look at it. So apparently this epic looking thing is your mock recoil booster, and this right here is called a detent, and you can see literally its purpose is to stop this from just being screwed off easily. Nice. And of course your cone shaped flash hider. is it colonical or what's this called? Colonic. Anyway, and of course, I've already shown you this epic looking bipod. Oh, steel fans. Nice. Oh, and nice. Right, let's have a look on this side. Epic, epic. I absolutely love this charging handle, aka cocking handle. Of course it's mock. This is Airsoft, and it's just a dummy one, not gas blowback or anything. But I love that you can grab hold of it for reenactments and fantastic. Now I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but those of you who are into reenactments and collectibles when it comes to things like this, if I tell you that this beautiful wooden stock here is not going to remain looking that beautiful for much longer, because again this will end up in my prop store and this has to be weathered. So this beautiful, beautiful stock is going to be all scratched up and weathered and oil and grease rubbed on it and everything. By the way, fun fact, did you know the original version of this didn't have a wooden stock? It had a Bakelite type stock. But eventually they started putting a beautiful wooden stock. There's the other side of that gorgeous grip, that epic looking trigger, and look at that fat trigger guard. By the way, all of this is metal. The entire platform is metal, apart from these grip panels, of course, and the wooden stock at the back. There's the other side of the drum mag, and you know what? I'm going to get some tubing, longer tubing, because I don't like how that looks. So yeah, I'm going to get an extension to that, or just replace that completely, so it goes all the way down and then into the mag, so it don't look too obvious. Now, the only letdown for me is that on the real steel version, you can pull that, open it up, and you can take the barrel out. On this Airsoft version, I wish they did that with this. But having said that, I love that you still have an element of realism here, because you can still open it up. But that's where the realism ends. And then, just like the real thing, I'm loving how that big old outer barrel there is exposed, completely open on this side. Very authentic looking. Right, I suppose I better make sure the drum mag actually feeds the BBs. So again, we unlock the top by pulling the handle over. Okay, so I'm now expecting, I'll tell you what, let me put this bipod away. Okay, so I'm expecting the first few shots for nothing to come out the barrel, because it's all got to be fed. So here goes, please work. Yeah, baby, I see it. That is working. Right, let's do a quick chrono. Man, this thing is long. I like it. So it's not an extreme rate of fire, but I'm happy with that. Okay, so we're looking at 12-13 rounds per second. It's maintaining around the 300 FPS. Actually, let's have a quick look at the average. Yeah, that's 304 on the nose. You know, I just thought about something. I bought myself a shredder, you know, a document shredder that other day. And I really shouldn't have bought one, because if you think about it, I have a ton of shredders already here. So, shall we shred some paper?
One million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
I think whatever classified information was written on that document has now been suitably shredded. Yeah. I think you know why I am clearing this. 2 reasons. 1, let me just set it down. There's your hop-up adjustment. Of course I'm going to keep the real world version on this when it's not being used for Airsoft and when it could possibly be used. Yeah, I reckon that's going to end up on a movie set at some point. But no tight shots.
Tight, yeah!
Now, those of you that watched this video, you'll know why or what I'm referring to in terms of tight. Anyway, by the way, with all the BBs I laid down, let's see how many. Wow, there was still plenty more to go. Impressed. Nice.
Yeah!
So, I think this is absolutely awesome for obvious reasons, okay? For Airsoft reasons, it seems to work perfectly out of the box. Now, this was a 2026 purchase. And as you saw at the beginning of the video, it now comes with a very nice case. I'll tell you what you used to get, which they didn't include this time, was one of those, you know, those standard NIM type batteries. They don't put those with these anymore. So I was quite happy to run a 7.4 LiPo on this, and it worked perfectly. In the long run, who knows? Other than that, this is flipping awesome.